This video is sponsored by Audible, home to the widest selection of digital audiobooks, including bestsellers, new releases, exclusives, and much more. On with the video. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice may be dividing both fans and critics alike, but one thing everyone agrees on is that there's a whole lot of Easter eggs and references and nods to the world of the comic books, the future of the DC universe, minor and major characters, plus a whole lot more. Now, everything I point out here ranges from obscure to blindingly obvious. Like, everyone knows that the armored bat suit is based on the version from The Dark Knight Returns, but if I don't say that, 100 people will yell at me in the comments. And then I'll have an emotional breakdown, similar to how Batman does to when he hears the name Martha. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. The movie. First up, let's talk about this film's connections to The Dark Knight Returns. Did you know that the armored batsuit is the same batsuit from the comic? What a crazy thing. A lot of the dialogue is also lifted right from there. I'm not going to go through all of it, but an example of this is Batman's confrontation with KG Beast, who he actually has murdered in the comics before. I mean, it was retconned, but it did happen. But the words he says in this movie are verbatim. We also get Pearl's breaking with the death of his parents, the Man of Steel getting depowered by a nuke, and also getting hit in the face with kryptonite. There's sonic blasts to slow him down, and Batman perched up on high with a rifle. Alfred also makes the same crack at Bruce Wayne for an empty wine cellar as he's seen drinking. Something he does do in that graphic novel and then quits. Now perhaps he also quit in the movie. I don't know, we didn't see it. If he did, it would have been right before that Rocky-style training montage.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
A bunch of other comics are also referenced, like the death of Superman with the death of Superman, plus hints at his return. We even see the silver S on his black coffin. The Injustice universe is touched on also, with Superman potentially becoming some kind of vicious dictator. This is meshed with what might be the Flashpoint Paradox story, which involves a time-traveling Flash, though there are a few arcs like that. And we also get hints at the arrival of Darkseid, which I'll get back to in a minute. We also get Senator Finch saying the line, "Must there be a Superman?" which is the focus of a classic Silver Age Superman story. A dead Robin also hints at a death in the family, and an Action Comics #1 style newspaper is in Wallace Keefe's apartment, and Perry White even says to Clark at one point, it's not 1938. Heaps of nods to DC characters. Some Riddler-inspired graffiti, along with some referencing the Joker, who Bruce Wayne hints at the party, and who's heavily implied to have killed a former Robin. A nod to him looks to also be on Batman's gun in the Nightmare sequence. Major Carrie Ferris returns from Man of Steel, possibly the future partner of Green Lantern. Solomon is seen on a tombstone, perhaps being the tombstone of Solomon Grundy. Mercy Graves, originally from the Superman animated series, is seen and then promptly killed, as was CIA agent / photographer Jimmy Olson at the beginning of the film. Yeah, that was Jimmy Olson. Big emphasis on the was. Martha Kent also works at Raleigh's Diner, which is a place in the comics where Lex Indecent Proposals a waitress. Zod is also said to be from Kandor, a Kryptonian city that gets bottled by the villain Brainiac. Strikers Island, traditionally a DC prison, this time located between Gotham and Metropolis. Doomsday gets stronger and grows more spikes, as he does in the comics when he's injured, and he's created from both Kryptonian and human DNA, which could be a throwback to how some versions of Bizarro were created by Lex, and some versions of Superboy are a clone with the DNA of Lex Luthor and Superman. Ben Affleck is given a widow's peak, like Bruce Wayne has in the comics. He's seen breaking through glass, similar to the bat that inspired his origin, and an enormous bat attacks him in one of the many and varied dream sequences. Could be a nod to Man-Bat, but there's also a deleted scene from Batman Forever where Bruce Wayne has like this weird and sexually charged moment with a giant bat.
Love is in the air. Everywhere I look around. Love is in the...
There's a reference to Superman's weakness of not being able to see through lead, as Batman drops a lead-based gas grenade, and apparently all the equipment and furniture in the Batcave, except for the chairs, hangs from the ceiling like a bat. A Mask of Zorro poster is also seen when Bruce Wayne and his parents leave the theater, which is sometimes the hero that inspired Batman. And also sometimes they get killed, leaving a movie theater after watching Zorro. Lots of Man of Steel references. Obviously, this is a direct continuation. I'm only going to touch on one, that being the Superman monument that stands at the center of the Black Zero event. If you look closely, where the rubble has been cleared, they've clearly marked out where the old roads were. Previous DC films are referenced. Nicholson Terminal could be a nod to Jack Nicholson. Vicky Vale introduces Lex at his party, her most prominent role probably being Batman 89. The word phantasm is dropped, potentially a nod to the animated film Mask of the Phantasm. Superman is helped out of water after being affected by kryptonite, like in Superman the movie. Lex Luthor learns about the universe through a Kryptonian AI, like in Superman 2. And Batman kills a lot of people, like in, well, all the Batman movies, which was also potentially influenced by a video I once made. I'm sorry, everyone. You know what? I'm not sorry. The object of that video was to show how ridiculous it is and hilarious that Batman kills so many people. It wasn't designed as a free pass for Zack Snyder to have Batman kill everyone he has a passing dislike for and whose mother's name's Aunt Martha. Elements of this story also carry over from a cancelled version of Batman vs Superman, which I won't go into, but I do have an animated video on that I'll link at the end. The future of the DC universe is also hinted at. Wonder Woman opens the metahuman files in the order in which the films come out. A mother box is used to create Cyborg, a piece of technology sometimes employed by Darkseid, among others, whose symbol we see along with his parademons. Lex Luthor perhaps even foreshadows his arrival after being jailed with the words, "Everyone knows that God is dead. He'll come for us. He's ready to feast." But you know, he might be talking about, I don't know, some other dickhead. Cyborg's father says that the box was found in 1982, the year that character was created. Steve Trevor is also seen in Wonder Woman's World War I photo. She also mentions that she's fought things from other worlds before, probably something ancient and godlike, and that we'll see in her solo movie. And getting back to that dead Robin, that may indicate that we'll be seeing the Red Hood storyline, the premise of which I won't spoil if you haven't read it. Lastly, a few references to other movies, including The Wizard of Oz. This happens a few times, but most noticeably when Perry White tells Clark to click his heels and go back to Kansas. The same actor who helped bring the Terminator to life creates Cyborg. Amazing Grace is played at Superman's funeral, like when Spock died in The Wrath of Khan. And Lex Luthor's prison number is 16-TK-421, which is the designation of a stormtrooper on the first Death Star.
TK-421, why aren't you at your post?
One that Han Solo or Luke killed. Yeah, he's dead. Everybody in Star Wars is a murderer. Alright, let's do the ad for this YouTube video. Audible is offering everyone watching this a free 30-day trial membership. If you go to audible.com/Sunday and browse the over 180,000 audio programs. It actually says 200,000 on the website. You know, they really need to update this. Come on, Audible, I'm doing your job for you here. But yeah, you can download a free title of your choosing and start listening. It's that bloody easy. Now, like I said, over 200,000 audio programs from leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazines, newspapers, and business information providers. Now, I'm going to recommend the book called The Caped Crusader, Batman and the Rise of Nerd Culture. It is a fantastic read. I mean, listen, it chronicles Batman's journey from his inception and the influences that created him and what he's had on pop culture. It's really interesting and funny and a real good time. But if that's not really your speed, maybe you could check out the audio drama Batman Nightfall, which has Bane release all of Batman's greatest enemies in a bid to break him. Potentially literally, who's to say? I'm actually in the middle of it right now. Yeah, and it's really bloody hooked me in. Okay, thanks everyone. Now, if there's any other Easter eggs, references, interesting facts, anything at all you'd like to add, please feel free to do so. And I know there is a stack, because I'm already reading articles with things that I haven't mentioned here. Now, those other videos I talked about, they're right there and there, if you're interested. And my podcast, The Weekly Planet, is also linked below, where this Monday, we are breaking down the good and the, you know what, mostly the not so good stuff from Batman, Superman. It's, you know what, we got a lot to say. Let's leave it at that. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Take care.